Hello everyone, today I'm here to show you how I made this pretty card. It says just sending a hello, and I did a whole lot of techniques and used a couple of cartridges. I used the Martha Stewart Elegant Cake Art, and I used this from Elegant Cake Art as well, both of these things. This was a flower that had a hole in it, and on my gypsy I hid the contour in the middle. You don't have to, because you can just put the gem there. And then this I used from Elegant Edges. It's on the border. I'll show you here on my gypsy. Let's see how well my new lens does with showing up the gypsy. A little experiment here. So there you see this element here. It is, if you see here, it shows you the size if you highlight it. It's 3.5 by 3/4 of an inch high, and it is unlinked. When I put it on my mat and I chose the width at 3.5 inches, the first time that I did it, it adjusted the height, and I didn't want to do that. So I unlinked it just so that just the height, just the width would be changed and not the height. If you leave it linked and you try to adjust the size of any cut, it will automatically change the ratio for you. Okay, so just so you know that, if that makes any sense at all. And then this flower, like I said, is also from Martha Stewart Elegant Cake Art. I believe that's what the cartridge is called. If we just press down there, Martha Stewart Elegant Cake Art, that's where the butterfly is from. I love that butterfly. And the butterfly is cut at 2 inches high, and the little flowers are 1 inch. Okay, and they're also from Martha Stewart Elegant Cake Art. Okay. And there's some images on layer 2, which I don't need for this card. It's for the next card. I was playing with some of my new products. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And by the way, I used my paper tray ink cardstock for the card base. I believe what I'm going to do is order the cardstock, or the craft color, the vintage cream, and the white. I can't remember what they call the white, but anyway, I think I'm going to buy 1 pack of each of those and just use them for card bases, because now that I see how sturdy the cards are, I don't know if I can go back now. So, alright, let's get started. This is going to take a while. Alright, well, first of all, got a couple layers here that are going to get, this is she sent me 2 of this craft, so I'm going to use it. This white is just from Recollections. So, see, it's very flimsy, but I still prefer this for cutting in the Cricut, and I'll probably continue to buy that just for cutting in the Cricut. So that is 4 by 5 1/4. And so that gets attached here. And of course the card base is basically a 8.5 by 11 cut in half at 5.5 to make a standard A2 size card. You know what? This time I wanted to use I wanted to go ahead and make a little different. See how nice, even though this is a very thick cardstock, it did the crocodile corner chomper cut through the layers so easily. So I love that. Okay, and then the red layer that you see in the card is 4 7/8 by 3 5/8, and I want to do the same thing to this. Oh, and I just remembered something else I wanted to share with you that I don't think I've ever mentioned before. I know sometimes it's hard to choose colors, especially if you're not using a paper collection. I always recommend that anybody who has trouble choosing colors, the best thing is just to use a paper collection, and that way, you know, all the colors coordinate with each other. However, if you're just trying to use your papers that you have and not, like me, I mean, I just don't really buy paper unless it's something that I have to have. You know, which really there's nothing I have to have. But, nevertheless, I do use, I want to use up what I have. So this is what I use. Here's a tip for you. You can find a color wheel in the fine arts department at Michael's. This one looks like this, and there's a lot of things that you can use a color wheel for. If you look at this side right here, there's a triangle, and then there's another triangle, and then there's these rectangles. This is to help you select colors that coordinate. Okay, so for example, I knew that I wanted to use the turquoise color and the red. So I looked at my color wheel here, and I noticed that if you see here, we've got red, we've got this orangey color, and then we've got this turquoisey color. Those colors coordinate, okay, which makes sense. If you see any paper packs, especially my favorite colors together come from, I'm looking for that paper pack. Where is it? Okay, here it is. If you go to Michael's, they have this soda pop cardstock. See how it has those colors? Okay, and that's where these colors came from anyway. But just as an example of how to choose the colors, I wanted to show you the color wheel. Okay, so this is a great way to do that, and I think it's something like $2.99 or $3.99. I've had it forever, and I have one for my scrap bag as well. Because sometimes you just can't think of something, or you can't think of, you know, what's another color. Okay, so the craft, this one comes from Recollections. This one is not paper tray ink, and it's 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and this is where we're going to do all of our work. Okay, so we're going to set the card base aside. Okay, now the first thing that I did was use my now what do they call this one? Did they have a name? It's from the Double Vision collection, and it's one of those Ditto Hampton Art. It has one of these thingies on it. I wonder what would happen if I use my phone. I'm just looking to see. It doesn't have a name, but it's this branch one that I got at Michael's. And what I'm going to do is use my Walnut Stain Distress ink. And just use it upside down. I'm going to really ink it up very well so I can get a good image. And I'm going to use my brayer. If you don't have a brayer, you can just use your hand. But I'm just going to just helps get a good image. Okay, now I really like that stain a lot. And if you like those stamps, I would say go and check them, because from last year's experience with those Ditto stamps, it seems like they're kind of like a seasonal thing, and they don't, I think they sell out and then they don't replace them. I could be wrong, but that was just kind of something Robin and I were observing. Of course, you could take the chance and see if you can get it on clearance, you know, if it doesn't sell very well at your store. But when I bought that branch stamp, it was the very last one at my Michael's. So I really like it a lot, along with the leaves one that Robin gave me. I think those are going to be 2. I'm going to use a whole bunch. Alright, I'm going to heat emboss this. Now, as you saw, that I just used walnut ink, distress ink, and just that ink is wet, and so it does grab hold of your embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead and heat it. So loud. Okay, now something else I did on here was also use white embossing powder to emboss it, to stamp and emboss part of the sentiment. Now this came from that same end cap at Michael's. This Robin gave me this for my birthday, and again I thank you, Robin, because I am loving this stamp set. It looks like this. Love this. I would not take a chance if you like that one. I think that's going to be all gone. I'm going to use my embossing buddy. This is over in the embossing department at Michael's. This helps to take the fingerprints off and help the embossing powder not stick to these other. In fact, I'm just going to do a little bit more. It kind of like neutralizes it, basically. And I'm going to use white embossing powder, and this one just says hello. Okay, and then we're going to use white. White embossing powder. I would say clear, white, and silver, probably my favorite embossing powder colors. Okay, so there you see. And then now we're going to emboss again. Okay, so there. Now, I'm going to do a little bit more embossing. Before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I took my walnut stain, and I'm going to ink the edges here. Ooh, that's a lot. I didn't mean to use so much. I just wanted to get the edges, but I'm a little heavy right there. Let's blend that a little so it doesn't look so odd. I'm going to take my little cloth and just kind of wipe it. This needs to be blended a little bit better. I don't want those harsh lines. Okay, so this one's going to be a little different, but the butterfly is going to be there, so it'll cover that up. Okay, now I believe that's it. That's all we're going to do to that piece. Now we're going to work with the little brackety looking piece. And what we're going to do to that is stamp it with Versamark and emboss it with clear embossing powder. We could use white, but because it's a white piece of paper, it won't really matter. And I got the idea to use the borders for sentiments from Miss Mary over at Card Crazy 09. She's great. She makes great cards. I love her clean cut style, and I get lots of ideas from her. So, okay, let's emboss this. Okay, there we go. Alright, use the other side, and I've got my evergreen bough. This is from the Christmas. A lot of embossing here today. And I'm just going to go around and kind of blend it. And if you're wondering about this, I take my rubber stamps off my blocks, and this was just one of those blocks that was perfect. All I did was put a piece of Velcro on it, and I can use it as a distress tool. My distress tools, I need to staple back together again because they're not really working very well. And I don't have a staple gun that works. Mine is broken. So I've been using these, and I actually prefer them. Okay, so then what I did, so see there, how you can see it? I'm going to clean that up. It just cleans it right off and makes it pop a little bit better. But then now I'm going to take, this is my new background stamp that I got at Marshall's. And I'm just kind of pushing it down, and it shifted a little bit. Okay, so now, I didn't get the whole thing, but that's okay. And I'm just going to wipe it off of the white. Okay, and that goes up here, like that. I love how that looks. So that's why I made the length on my Gypsy 3.5 because the width 3.5 because my width of this paper is 3.5. Okay, and then I'm using the same. Just gonna clean this up. Use this same background stamp on the butterfly, and I'm just going to put Versamark and stamp it. This one I'm kind of doing at an angle. The last time I did it straight. Okay, and then my clear embossing powder again. Told you, lots of embossing. And I'm just going to one of those long videos because I just went nuts. I had fun doing this card. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to use my Versamarker. This is in the embossing aisle, the stamp aisle at your craft store. And all I'm going to do